Is South Africa teetering on the brink of a water crisis? Can the looming day zero in the Western Cape be averted? Is desalination a solution to the province's current water challenges? And has water been politicized? What time is it? It's question time. Khotsong, Kurula, Mraro, and welcome to the show. My name is Matsotsosela. Experts say with day zero fast approaching in the Western Cape, South Africa's economy could be severely affected if water refugees embark on a mass exodus to other provinces. Water and Sanitation Minister Nomvula Mokonyane says discussions are underway to source funds to solve the water crisis. Yesterday, Democratic Alliance leader Mmusi Maimane announced that day zero in Cape Town has been moved back by 4 days, from 12 April to 16 April 2018. Maimane attributes this to the water-saving efforts by many residents. Many Cape Town residents are already stockpiling water in anticipation of the day when taps will run dry completely. While the Western Cape water situation continues to dominate headlines, a daily newspaper quotes a resident of Matsotsosela in Giyani saying they have had their own day zero for the past 24 years due to a lack of rain. He says ever since 1993, in fact, local residents are sharing water with animals in streams and rivers. We are live and would welcome your calls. The number to dial 089-1104-210. Outside the borders, +2789-1104-210. Our Twitter handle at Question Time 24. And a reminder that you can live stream us on our Facebook page, SABC News Online, and our YouTube channel, YouTube/SABC Digital News. My guest today, Professor Mary Galvin. She's from the Center for Social Change at the University of Johannesburg, and that Sputnik Ratau is the spokesperson for the Department of Water and Sanitation, and we'll welcome them to the show. Welcome to the show. Ratau, welcome to the show. The last question that I asked was, has water been politicized here? Are we seeing politics playing out over this precious resource?
I think the good fortune is that I'm not a politician, so the issue of politics for us as officials really doesn't come into play, because as technocrats in the department, technocrats in the city, technocrats in the province of the Western Cape, and actually across the country, the first thing that we are about is what is it that we need to do. The truth of the matter is that we are led by politicians, but obviously they also need to be advised by some of the realities that, especially, the people that are who have first-hand knowledge about the situation are able to deliver to them. As to how they then phrase that outside of that realm is something that normally we don't get into.
But Mmusi is not in government. I mean, he's not even in the provincial government of the Western Cape. He's not a councillor in the city of Cape Town. Why should it be the DA telling us that it's now, the day zero has now been extended by 4 days?
Well, from the point of view of the Department of Water and Sanitation, our planning is that we do not even have a day zero. Our planning is that we do not have a system failing. And therefore, even from where we are sitting, we are not looking at a day zero, because we are of the view that there is a shortage of water, a lack of water in the Western Cape. But you must remember that this is not unique to the Western Cape per se. We as a country have gone through that, but actually even as a region of SADC. And therefore, the Western Cape is now experiencing this, particularly because it is outside of the normal rainy, or rather the summer rainfall season that the other people experience. And therefore, in essence, they have experienced even less and less rainfall over the last couple of years than they would have wanted to.
But now, who do we believe here? It is the DA that is speaking about water now. We are not seeing you. Instead, it is Mmusi Maimane who comes and says, look, that day zero is no longer the 12th, it's the 16th. Where is the department here? I'm trying to establish where is the department if it is Maimane who is telling the South African public that the day zero is now no longer starting on the 12th, it's now starting on the 16th.
I'm going back to what I was saying a little earlier. From the department's point of view, we do not have a day zero.
So Maimane is talking nonsense.
It is what we call, one of our DDGs actually on one of the programs called it a mythical day zero, because that is not where we are working from. And from where we are working from is that we need to keep the system going until the next rainy season. And that is what we are working towards. So day zero has never been a number. It has never been something that we're looking at. And therefore, we will leave it at that for now.
So you're not going to say whether Maimane is talking nonsense or not?
No, I will not.
Okay. Prof, you are an activist. You are an academic. You know a lot about this water situation. How do you describe the situation that is panning out? Let's just focus on the Western Cape in particular.
Yes, I always am concerned when the discussion goes that there's scarcity only for climatological reasons, only because we have a drought this year. That sort of scarcity and supply issue is only part of the equation. The other part is what's happening with demand. And then the more important part that gets overlooked in all of this is something that we call manufactured scarcity, which means that it's not just whether it's raining or not raining or how much water people need, but it's about the distribution of that water, the allocation of the water. So it's actually the responsibility of the Department of Water Affairs in the National Water Act to make sure that the basic needs of people are met first, and the environment, and then all the other users. So the dams that the Department of Water Affairs own in the Western Cape, they are responsible for making sure that that allocation happens in a way that is meeting those requirements. So instead of seeing that the day was coming and making those hard decisions to cut water to agriculture, it got left to the very last minute, and now we're in the situation where the people suffer.
So who do you blame?
Personally, I personally blame I guess I blame the minister. What leadership can we look to? If you look at the reports that are coming out, the Department of Water Affairs is full of issues, of problems, of turnover, senior management who are suspended, deputy director generals positions vacant, financial mismanagement, allegations of corruption, legislative uncertainty, and now this latest thing, the catchment management agencies. We've been waiting for a decade for it to be completed so these agencies can be formed, and they're the ones who take responsibility for the allocation of water. Now the minister's saying we'll just have one. So the institutional craziness that's happening in the department, how can we move forward with issues? We need that direction and leadership from the department.
Windsor, you are in Social.
Yes, Umpo.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, yes, I understand that the Western Cape is the only province in the country run by the official opposition party, the Democratic Alliance. So South African ruling African National Congress run the rest. So which means that the relationship between the national government and the Western Cape is complicated, as the water crisis shows. So which means the tiers of government, which is the Western Cape province and the city of Cape Town, went above beyond what required to prepare for drought. And the system failed, however, at the level of national government, which means the Minister of Water and Sanitation failed the Western province.
How did she fail them?
Because it didn't attend that problem. As soon as they heard that there is a problem, the crisis, water crisis there, because they're trying to politicize that water crisis.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks very much, Winter. Is it true?
From where I'm sitting, simple answer, no. What I want to say to you is, look, the Act provides for the Department of Water and Sanitation, by the way. Department of Water Affairs doesn't exist anymore. But be that as it may, that the responsibility of bulk supply
That's national.
is national.
Yeah.
Fair and square, no debate there.
Yeah.
And that is something that we assist with. That is something that we assist with. And you must remember that for some of the issues that we need to look at, and we cannot avoid some of these things. Infrastructure is there. Some of the infrastructure is not sufficient to cater for the population that has come into the different areas. If you look at the simple example of Gauteng, the smallest province in the country, and yet it's got the biggest population. We do have that relationship between bulk infrastructure and reticulation, which needs to talk to the whole thing. But I think two things that we cannot, even if you look at whether there are other things around. We have been in a drought for a good period of time. Yeah. It is a drought that has been more serious than a lot of time that has gone by. We are in a situation where consumption patterns far outstrip the guidelines that are necessary for us to be able to bring the whole thing into control. But when you look at also the fact that from a national point of view, we have gazetted water restrictions over time, and revised those in the last year as well as twice already between December and now, so that we can be able to encourage that kind of reduction in consumption, including the fact that at local level, municipalities have instituted their own levels of water restrictions, which are critical things to look at. And therefore, it is all of those combinations, plus the fact that we've been experiencing high temperatures all around. And you must remember, this is not classic to the Western Cape. We've seen that in the Northwest, Limpopo, Free State, and KZN in the previous round. And we've had a lot of positive responses to some of those issues that we've looked at in order to alleviate those issues.
Just hold it there. Let's go to the Val. Dagi.
Hi, Mumpu. How are you? Happy New Year to you.
Dagi, it's 2018, and you must learn to pronounce my name properly. Mpo.
Okay. Listen.
Yeah.
I hear you talking to a guy by the name of Sputnik.
Yeah.
Maybe we must send him up there, let him bring the rain for the Cape. Eh?
Okay.
Don't you think so?
Well, listen, I don't think he's got the capacity to bring the rain, but yeah. What's your point?
My question is, I don't know who made the comment or who asked the question, but I thought it was a valid question. The question should be, if a minister tells a country the rain can fall and we'll just pick it up, shows it physically, it can fall and we'll just pick it up, is that person capable of being a minister?
Okay.
Or am I wrong?
Well, no, there's never a wrong question. I mean, it's a question that you've asked.
I mean, even if you ask her,
yes,
you give advice to these politicians. They got a head of their own. They don't want to listen to no advice. They got one way, and that to them is the right way. Whether it be the wrong way, it is the right way.
Okay. Dagi?
You follow what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
And this is the big problem. The Department of Water Affairs should be, according to the Constitution, held liable to make sure that all the citizens of this country get water. Water is the most fundamental thing we need in our lives.
Okay.
And if they're not doing that, there's something horribly wrong. Because they're doing other things. They having, we got an ideology, and our ideology we're going to show you.
Dougie?
I'm not for the DA and I'm not for the ANC.
I know.
But really.
Okay, Dougie, thanks very much.
They talk a lot of crap to us.
Thank you, Dougie, there for your points. Prof, let me bring you in here.
Yeah, no, I wanted to say that at the Department of Water and Sanitation and the City of Cape Town, there really are so many individuals who are committed to sort the situation out. So many officials who are working really hard, many of whom I know personally.
Yeah.
So I think that we need to be careful when we're talking about the mess that the politicians have left us in, which always makes me think about the elephants fighting in the grass underneath the people getting destroyed. With the officials and what they can do. So what Dougie was saying about the Department of Water and Sanitation, and I was very glad they took back sanitation, is true, but they're responsible for bulk, not
yes.
for getting the water to people's doorsteps. Then that's the City of Cape Town.
Yeah.
So it's important to keep those two sort of sets of responsibilities, and that's why the opening statement about day zero is something that a politician would be willing to say about Cape Town, where a department spokesperson can't comment on that. So there's two different things.
He's saying there's no day zero.
No, but you mean Sputnik is saying that?
Yes, the department.
Yeah, but, it's not up to, that part of it constitutionally is not up to the department. Do I understand properly?
You understand properly, because that statement, you must remember, came from the mayor of the City of Cape Town.
Yes.
But I'm saying, from where we are operating, we're not operating from a point of day zero. So for us, day zero really doesn't really affect us. So, all we need to do.
But what does it mean? Does it mean?
Yeah.
Does it mean? I'm sorry. Does it mean that there's not going to be any cut-off of water supply?
You must understand that there's a combination of things that will ultimately come in.
Yeah.
If we do not have rainfall, and if we have late rainfalls,
yes,
and if the consumption patterns continue at the rate that they are going, whether be it agriculture, domestic industry, okay, a combination of all of those, the city can come to a point where they must make a decision to say, with the supply that is available in their reticulation infrastructure, what is it that they can afford? And they could make a decision to say, for this period, we are going to reduce or we are going to close off supply at certain areas and afford at other areas, in order to be able to spread that. If that decision comes, that would be a decision at local government, but I'm not speaking for the City of Cape Town. So that the issue of day zero, for me, if I were to be a citizen of Cape Town, common citizen of Cape Town, and not where I'm sitting, that would be what I would need to understand from a technical point of view. But considering as well that the issue of water supply is a bit difficult, because it's not like electricity where you can switch on a switch and switch it off again. Because if you tamper with the supply within a system, it also affects the operational capacity of that system.
Have you, as a department, because you supply bulk, have you supplied the city with enough water that would ensure that there's no day zero?
We are in operation together with the city to see to it how can we augment the supply that is already there, which is not sufficient at the moment. That is why part of what we are doing is, within the month of December, we were able to finalize 3 water use licenses on behalf of the city that would allow them to look into how to tap into the Table Mountain Group aquifer in order to assist water supply there. Yeah. Secondly, we are working together with them to monitor the compliance issues around the response to the water restrictions, be it those that are gazetted by us, but as well as those that are enforced by the city itself.
What's the solution, Prof?
I'm an academic, I'm not a magician.
Yeah, give us the academic analysis.
What's the solution? Yeah, what concerns me more is that some of the background factors that have led to this crisis in Cape Town are well on their way to leading to crisis maybe of a different sort elsewhere in the country. So it might take a form of being a lack of water in Cape Town, but the acid mine drainage problems, the pollution, the allocation of water, one solution is to have an intervention so that we have a more, a stronger Department of Water and Sanitation that can lead us with this. For me, the other solution is that we go back to the principles of post-94 and who really matters. Our citizens, our residents have to come first. The whole aim of the Water Act, the whole aim of the legislation was to make sure that poor people in particular get water. And if you ask someone in a township in Cape Town, oh, now you have to live on 25 liters per person per day. That's what's specified already. That's what people already are limited to on a free basic water amount, is 25 liters per person per day. It's already a small allocation. So the people who we need to look to and we need to act on is the hedonistic use of our leafy suburbs and our middle class, the people who you have in your videos who are running to the shops and stockpiling all the water. That's our biggest problem. Right now it's so commodified that if you have money, you can get water. Everyone's supposed to be able to get water. It's like the Titanic. What good is your money if there's only one lifeboat?
Nhleko.
How's it?
I'm well, thanks for the call, bro.
Yes, man. I just wanted to put a comment across. I believe it is politicized. As the person that you spoke about earlier regarding the area of Giyani,
yes,
that issue has been there for more than 10 years. So to put it out there and let's be honest about the whole thing, it is politicized and people now are jumping up and down, but we have been going through this whole mess for years ourselves. So I don't know why is it that now it has to be made to be so important for other people while we are still suffering where we are staying back in Giyani. I'm calling from Tshwane now. I know that right now, we might not be going through the same issues as Cape Town or people in Giyani, but I'm from Giyani, and I know that is a problem. So it is politicized, according to me. Remember, 2019 is next year. So, yeah, that answers you.
Okay, thanks very much. Is there an emphasis on the Western Cape drought issue as opposed to lack of water for the people of Giyani and all the other villages who are saying, we've been on this day zero for the past 23 years or 24 years. What is so difficult for other people to also go through day zero?
I think when you look at it, when the drought came into the region a couple of years ago, the worst hit provinces were the four that I mentioned initially. And a lot of work was done in order to try and assist those people in those areas. What has happened in the meantime is that there's been a recovery in terms of your availability of surface water up to now. So that is why at the moment the most affected area is the Western Cape. It is not as if there is no impact in the Eastern Cape, which has also seen quite less rainfall this rainy season than the last 2 years. So there are also issues there, and KZN hasn't recovered sufficiently up to now. So there are still issues there. So there is for us, from where I'm sitting, and that's why I was saying at the beginning of the program that for us as officials, it is about what we need to do. And at the moment, it is not really a major issue that the Western Cape has got more emphasis. It is true that the Western Cape is critical in the sense that it is a major tourist destination. A lot of people are working on those farms and agricultural areas.
Sure.
Even industry is quite huge there. So it is not something that you can actually ignore.
Okay. Well, thanks very much for making time to talk to us. Thanks, Prof. That was Question Time for today. A big thank you to my guests and to you for watching the show. From me and the entire crew, you have yourself a wonderful time. Aiba
About that trending life, the looking good and all that slayage? Well, fear not, because Trends has all the fashion do's and don'ts for you to stay on point this upcoming season.
This film will be an immersive spectacle. You got Kong that's 100 feet tall.
It tells this incredible story of man versus nature.
The iconic stage production by Mbongeni Ngema is back with a bang.
Sarafina is a classic South African production.
I always choose to align myself with brands that I just love. Because when you love something, it doesn't become work.
Luxury is not built overnight, but it's an experience that comes with time.
Catch up with all the trends on Trends Saturdays at 12.
The Vredefort Dome incorporates the towns of Parys and Vredefort on the side of the Free State. It straddles the Northwest and Free State provinces, but 70% of it is in the Northwest. It is believed a huge meteorite hit the Earth in the region of 2023 million years ago. It resulted in what is now the Vredefort Dome. Tourist guide Christo Meyer says there are different theories of what really happened here many years ago. One university believes it was a meteorite impact, while another says it was a volcanic reaction. None of the universities, however, could back up their theories with sufficient evidence.
Today, it is accepted that it is a meteorite impact structure, and it is the largest and the oldest meteorite impact structure so far found on Earth. What makes it unique is the fact that the geological formations have been brought up to the surface.
The site attracts domestic and international geologists because of Vredefort Dome's unique geology. Rocks such as the Granite